now. All right, we're here for our third and final feature match for week 1 here. Phyrexian will be 1 league. We got two partners here, partners in life, partners in magic, and now opponents today, though, Emmett and Maranda, who volunteered to duel it out against each other tonight on our feature match. So,
nice turn one. Great turn one here. I don't have to tell you what it is. It's on the board.
That's a good one.
Skrell.
Yeah, so Skrell.
Legendary Knight.
Okay, looks like
It's been all about knights today.
looks
to
like
be honest.
Emmett has made his stream much smaller here, so I'm actually going to switch over to Maranda, and you can watch Emmett, just because I guess it was slowing him down the full screen. So if we're just going to switch over, I'm going to switch over to Maranda real quick, and if you could switch over to Emmett, just because the image was very small there.
I know the cards well enough, even when they're this small at this point. But for YouTube, you probably want to be on the other.
Yeah, absolutely. So looks like Emmett is. Okay, I was looking at Emmett's hand. He looked to be playing some sort of Jeskai deck, and Miranda's on a Naya deck here, white, green, and red. Though she has gone to go get a plains because she has a card in her hand that requires 4 white mana. So if you've played this set at all, you'll know it's Phyrexian Vindicator.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in comes the Dune Mover here. I imagine Emmett will want to keep his mana dork alive. Yeah.
Basically Phyrexian mana.
Yeah, Mere Convert. I guess people underrate it because I see it go like pick 5, pick 6, and pack 1 like all the time in draft. And Maranda has kept plains on top of her deck, which normally in a game you would not want to keep plains when you already have 3 mana, 2 of which are white. But Phyrexian Vindicator is going to come down on turn 5. So
turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, all creatures.
Yeah. Yeah, so this Mere Custodian, again, a card you usually aren't playing in draft, and probably, a couple weeks into the league, they'll probably be gone from your deck. But in the early days, you play what you can. You could always cast it on turn 3. Scry 2 is good. You don't love the opponent scrying 1, but here we are. And I believe in the brief time I saw him at 10, he did have Bring the Ending, right?
He's Bring the Ending, and that's up here along with Chrome Prowler. And he did make his screen full screen at this point.
Well, it's fine. We'll go with it like this. So I do imagine that this Bring the Ending is going to hit the Phyrexian Vindicator, sadly, for Maranda, because that's all she's got going right now. She's got a Forest, Phyrexian Vindicator, and we know she's drawing a Plains next turn.
Chrome Prowler is a nice response here to spending the turn making the Dune Mover fly.
Yeah, I mean she still gets the card, but yeah, she won't get corrupted here. But you can do this.
Oh, what does the Skrell do? Is it protection?
It gets hexproof from a color. It gets toxic 1, and it can't be blocked by that color. So
so that works.
Basically everything except protection. You can't use it on blocks for protection.
I see.
But you can use it for unblockable, and you could use it to stop being targeted, and you could pay 1 white or a Phyrexian mana.
So it's one of those early white cards that just kind of keeps up protection for one creature or whatnot. And you got to kind of target that if you want to target other stuff.
If anybody's watching the Pro Tour Top 8, it actually made it constructed into the finalists' deck. It was like a Selesnya. They called Selesnya Auras. It's sort of the Boggles strategy where that guy can give protection.
Oh. Madsen, the one who lost to Reed in the final.
Yeah, so it looks like the Defector Might is getting charged by other Mights. So I guess he made the rest of the Mights mad. So it's some Might on Might violence here. Alright, so looks like the Phyrexian Vindicator is going to be cast, and there's going to be some sad times here when it does not resolve.
Not sure how much longer go on against
that card is extraordinarily difficult to handle, I will say. I mean, again, extraordinarily difficult to cast, but here.
There's a bouncing hand in the form of chemical spell.
Got some Karn crowd surfing there. I'm not sure what it signifies, but so the cards left in hand here is a Force and a Mere Kinsmith, which searches out Mere. So we'll see if she has more mirrors. She already cast one, the Custodian.
There's been mirror on both sides now. There is only a Terramorphic expanse here in hand, but three ways to draw a card on
Yeah.
board for.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, both players are about to be empty handed, but Emmett's got 3 card draws here, you know, he has access to.
Oh, a Blade of Sheared Souls is interesting. It lets you copy something that you have once it gets equipped to it.
Yeah, that
Of
card's
course, for
very, yeah, the card's very, very strange. It actually does not, it will not copy an enter the battlefield trigger, which is really weird. Usually with your clones, usually when you have a clone, it's like almost the entire appeal of having a clone is that you get to get an enter the battlefield trigger often, and it doesn't actually work somehow. All right, so
could be nice.
here's a Tyrann axe off the top. So
Probably
yeah,
nice. You can sculpt
and
with nice.
Emmett just absolutely has to block it because can't go to 7 toxic here. That means it's 1 hit away from dying to that. It just has to, and even bouncing it doesn't do a lot. It just makes her recast it, but it has haste. So
Well, a line here would be blocking with the convert because the top deck is Volt Charge.
yeah, that's the only line I think. Because you
Well,
can't
I mean,
take 3 toxic. I mean, he's at 7 and 5 poison. So all right, so he's gonna send it back. Yeah, so he can block. He can still block in Volt Charge here.
I'm picky, but I would have cracked my Terramorphic before the card draw.
Well, you might draw an untapped land, so you don't have to take 2 life to cast the Volt Charge. I guess that's
True.
that's the other side of
But
it. You know, he's at 7, so 2 life
that is true.
matters. Like Mirror
7
Convert, super great in the early turns. Like, you know, it's worth 4 life to play ahead of curve for a couple turns. But you know, when you get to this point in the game, you're hoping to not have to use the ability. But in this case, you will have to use it.
Yeah, that's right. It's better to conserve life here. It's true. And Basilica Shepherd's the only other card in hand now is the draw last turn.
Okay, well, Basilica Shepherd will be impactful here.
Non-blocking mites significantly worse in this situation than blocking creatures, but that's what you get. And a Chrome Prowler off the top. Only one spell can be played this turn, though.
So it looks like it's got to be the angel.
Yeah, there it is. You can turn a mite into an angel?
Oh no. So Miranda has drawn the Mirror Custodian, which I assume was a card she would have gone to go get with the Mirror Kinsmith. But there's another Kinsmith left in the deck, so no further Mirror, but all of the Mirror have been fetched out here. So, and I think she can pretty happily put 2 lands on the bottom.
Ooh. Sorry, the Hexgold Slash probably will be handy.
So I do believe if you equip to a Mite, you could turn it into the Basilica Shepherd and we'll be able to block, right?
Yeah. You can even do a double equip turn if you're crazy, but Chrome Prowler and Hexgold Slash being castable at instant speed.
So this can now block, I think, which is very, very big. And I think soon he'll be in a state where he can start getting chunks out of life here with the Basilica Shepherd. So here comes a Kinsmith. It will not search the library because all 4 mirror have been cast, strangely enough, in a 60 card deck. So Chrome Prowler is going to come in, tap down. I think Emmett's figuring out when he can start attacking, and the answer is soon.
Could be now. It's Hexgold Slash in hand, so it's pretty good defensively. You could crack the land now.
I think waiting 1 more turn is fine. And that's actually okay. So Miranda's doing quick math here because she's drawn Titanic Growth. So she's concluded that the unblocked creature will be targeted by Titanic Growth, but in fact the unblocked creature will be Hexgold Slashed.
As it turns out, if Mirror Custodian...
Oh wait, no. Emmett actually has to act first here. He has to Hexgold Slash, and then the Titanic Growth comes.
And since that costs red, the instant card draw is not happening.
Yeah, so this is actually interesting because could have blocked could have left a the 2/1 unblocked, and then this would not have happened. Well,
Wait,
huh?
wait.
That was strange. Couldn't you have just saved the? She could have saved the creature there. I think.
I'm not sure what
Wow.
I just witnessed.
Yeah, she could have. She could have Titanic growth on the unblocked creature there. The one that was getting targeted by the hex bolt. It would have got it
Yeah,
out of
and
range.
that was just lethal, right?
Yes.
Now there, I would have cracked the Terramorphic first. I don't care.
Yeah, probably now. I mean, deck thinning in 60 cards is not as big a thing, but
I'm not sure why the Might is standing back. I think things are going crazy right now.
yeah, there's a lot of interesting game actions being taken there.
Um, so this Angel is actually a Might. So if you unequip it, it's just going to be a Might again, right? That's how it works.
Correct. Uh, yeah, and changing the equipment is going to turn it back into a might, so you can't. Okay, so here's a 1/2 flying.
Yeah.
And sack the land. Imagine he can at least start attacking with this might that can't block, right?
Awesome card here, Annex Sentry off the top. So no
Okay,
attacker.
so yeah, that little misplay is gonna be costly here because the damage is gonna start to pile up. Well, here's a planar disruption that can at
It
least
could have
stop
been
the
that
3/3.
It could have been that Miranda was thinking Hex Gold does 4 damage, even though that thing wasn't. No, it was a mirror. It
No, it
wasn't.
would have still survived.
Yeah, because it only does 2 damage. Oh,
Oh
even
no,
through
I wouldn't have
Titanic. Right?
survived. Oh no, it was the Dune Mover. It would have still taken. No, it would have taken 4, right? Yeah, it would have taken 4, and it would have been a six
Yeah, it still would have
five.
survived. Never mind.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
maybe just a little bit of
Look,
miscounting there.
yeah. So Chrome Prowler here is looking pretty safe, even through some sort of removal, hasty creature shenanigans.
Chrome Prowler's gonna almost not quite end the game, but yeah, Maranda has 2 forests and a ruthless predation, so now can equip the blade onto the might and make it a 3/2, and just get the game over with here. Well,
Oh,
not this
that's
turn,
turn.
but next turn. Huh. Interesting. Didn't choose the 3/2 to just pile in more damage here, but
This blade
maybe
is offering lots
maybe
of
fear.
possibilities.
Maybe he's like fearing like a haste plus a removal.
We did see a haste creature already.
Yeah. So yeah, the Titanic growth there costly in this game, and yeah, so Miranda has called her deck Greed, running
Well, this
10
deck's only
plains, 6 mountains, and 9 green sources. So no splash, just playing Phyrexian Vindicator with double green cards and red cards as well. So
didn't see any changes from this deck called One League.
1 league is accurate description, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's mostly white, green. The red appears to be for some burn spells of various sorts. And she's got a nice top end here. I mean, past the Vindicator, there's Argenta Masticore, there's Thrun, which is a highly unpleasant card to play against for anyone who's faced off with it. They'll know.
Two of the scariest 5 drop. Maybe the 2.
Yeah. So what's Emmett looking at over there?
We're on the loading screen for a while now, so
Okay,
lost my chance.
he just clicked done and
Pretty much.
okay. Yeah, like in these early weeks, again, you're not going to have too much of a sideboard. I mean, with 3 colors, you're going to have a bit more of a sideboard than you will with 2 colors. 2 colors, you're usually just playing basically everything that is playable.
And you throw them all in there.
So if Miranda would wanted to go for ultra greed, she would have played Kaya in her deck as well. But it's probably a bridge too far here.
It was only called Greed, not Ultra Greed.
Truth.
So it was a good start from Miranda. Skrelv into the Dune Mover into.
Yeah. Even
Yeah, which
Vindicator, like on time, basically turn 5, but the counter spell.
Yep. It was
And
a
then we
couple
had
skull bombs and a couple sack lands that drew Emmett to some gas to win.
stayed alive. Got saved by a little bit of an error there, but let's
There,
see. Let's
we might
see
see a third game
what
play
she's
tonight.
doing here. Looks like she wants some carnivorous canopies here just to get rid of artifacts and enchantments. Maybe flyers. Didn't see too many flyers, but aside from the Basilica Shepherd.
Yeah, the flyers are 1-drops too, the 1/2, right? So it's
Mm.
like I really want to spend hard removal on a 1-drop.
No, and she has access to like quite an okay amount of removal already, but maybe just wants a little bit more. Can't really have too much removal in the first couple weeks of League.
Yeah, I can't go too wrong.
Cutting Expand the Sphere, which is a card haven't seen played too much. Not very efficient.
Is that the look at 7 and ramp 2?
I think it's look at 6. It's not even.
That was one of the only on-color cards that I'm cutting from my deck. Not going in.
Yeah, you can proliferate equal to the difference of like if you don't get 2 lands, you can proliferate equal to the difference. All right, so all 3 colors and 2-drop and 3-drop here. So this is a keep. It's
Emmett's
like
got no lander into Mulligan, 2 Terramorphic Expanse, and a Mere Convert, and 2 mountains, so all the land. Probably going to keep this one.
so. Is there a non-land card there?
Furnace Strider's going to the bottom. It looks like Mere Convert, 4 lands, and a Volt Charge is the keep. He didn't press done on the
Okay.
Furnace Strider.
I feel like I'd almost want the Furnace Strider, especially with Mere Convert. You get it on turn 4.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm thinking bottom. Yeah, he's bottoming the mountain in the end.
Yeah, bottom of
Almost.
land. Yeah, you have to bottom of land there, I think. Yeah, so Miranda's going to be able to go Axiom Engraver into Gold Warden's Helm. So, 2 commons that have definitely performed higher than it looked like they would. Axiom Engraver has been a standout, at least in draft. I think the fact that it doesn't cost any mana to use the ability, because we've seen variations on this type of red creature before. This tap, discard a card, draw a card, but it always costs mana usually.
Yeah, this is just limited number of times unless you can proliferate it.
Yeah, but also just a 1/3 for 2 is good in this format. Like, there's so many things
Yeah.
you need to block. There's just
Oh
lots
yeah.
of 2/1s, lots of toxic creatures.
Lots of next ones, like the one we just saw.
Yeah, so
Sorry, swooping lookout was the other option for this turn, but Mere Convert to ramp is what he went for.
and so Miranda's thinking about, what we call Bolt the Bird here. Just, they play a mana creature early, you just kill it before they can even use it once. I feel like once somebody ramps once with a mana creature, you feel a lot worse about killing it.
For sure. Playing
I,
ahead of curve and
yeah, and she did even get value from the proliferate there, getting an extra counter on her creature. So follow up is she has Gold Warden's Helm and Planar Disruption along with 2 lands. So gonna need to find a bit more action here. Here's
good news
another
is
planes. So of note, I'm sure having built this deck called Greed, she knows that she should always be playing planes above everything else all the time because she does have that quad white card.
oh yeah.
So I
Correct.
imagine she's going to be dumping her one of her lands here with the Axiom Engraver. We'll see.
No play here outside of Volt Charge or Atmosphere Surgeon, which you believe you
Yeah.
can take. Yeah, you can take off oil counters to give stuff flying at sorcery speed.
Yep. Yeah, that card is sort of just, from my experience, it's like you don't want to block with it in the early game, but you often have to. But if you get it going in the late game, you just get surprise wins out of nowhere.
Yeah, you can give a couple. You can give like 3 creatures flying or something. If you play your
Yeah,
cards
I
right.
mean it is kind of on board, but yeah. So she did discard a planes, and I guess she's going to discard another planes here with the Axiom Engraver. If she draws the Phyrexian Vindicator, I think we'll see some emotes here about discarding 2 planes and then drawing it.
You've seen Obliterator and Vindicator in hand tonight through our feature matches. I don't
Yeah,
think we've seen one
there's a
played,
Furnace
right?
Strider. That's going to come down. That's probably going to be good enough to get this Planar Disruption, but it will get in a hit first. Yep, 4/5 coming in.
So hand right now for Emmett is Surgical Skull Bomb and Volt Charge.
Okay, so got some interaction here, but nothing he's particularly afraid of yet. So off goes Plains. All right, another Forest comes off, and a Bardiche. Okay, so Bardiche is gonna at least put some presence on the board. It would also turn that Orthodoxy Enforcer into a 4/4. So there is a question here of whether you want to play the Bardiche or whether you want to play Planar Disruption, and I assume based on this, it's going to be Planar Disruption because there's no way you would not. There's no way you wouldn't play the artifact pre-combat to give it an extra power.
Now Surgical Skull Bomb. Can you bounce your own thing?
That one, I believe you
Yeah,
can.
you can. You can. Yeah, if he so wishes.
Yeah, it seems like from set to set, it's never consistent of what you can bounce. Like sometimes it's an online permanent, sometimes it's a creature. Sometimes you can bounce your own stuff, sometimes not.
Opting to remove the Rebel. Not quite as costly to do that. The Sprint Strider does cost 5. It's not the best thing
Yeah.
to have to replay.
No, just I think it was fine the way it was. All right, so
Yeah, I think so. There's a Chrome Prowler in hand, and a Dune Mover. If a couple more
okay.
non-creature spells or cast Atmosphere, as you said, it could eventually end up dealing a lot of air damage in a few turns.
So Maranda has another plane or disruption for when the next big threat comes down. But for now, just gonna get a Bardiche, get in for 4, have a 4/3 back. So really, just big creatures versus small creatures. It's gonna have a tough time here because the next
Well,
the
well,
next
let's play.
big the next big creature is gonna get hit with a planar disruption. All right, so get rid of the 4/3, but the artifact's still there. Right, so he's not interested in chump blocking with this surgeon. He wants the damage in.
Yeah, well, Chrome Prowler is likely going to be tapping out the Orthodoxy Enforcer. The
Yeah,
Vigilance creature is going to get tapped. And there's a lot of air damage potentially next turn. Get her down to 4 if he so wishes.
yeah, could deal 6 and then still have another trigger. Yeah. So this game, like I said, the Atmosphere Surgeon, it sat there for a few turns. It didn't do much. It just collected a couple counters, and now it's swinging the game. And if Miranda just spends her whole turn equipping here, I mean, equipping to that is good because you will get a hit in. Yeah, so
Well, Chrome
both.
Prowler is a tapper, so that's usually good against equipment stuff in general.
She's thinking about equipping the helm as well, but it doesn't change any of the blocks. So
There's a choice. Okay, he's casting the Prowler.
yeah, it's gonna
One is
take.
Vigilance, one is equipped.
They're both vigilance.
Oh, that was Vigilance because of the Bardiche. You're
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Did you say there was a planar disruption in hand? Because there's a big 5 drop coming out now.
yeah. That one's gonna get locked down for sure. So let's see how aggressive Emmett decides to get here with his atmosphere surgeon. Okay,
One aggressive.
so here comes a planar disruption.
Vigilance looking nice in this board state. I'll say that.
Vigilance has just been a really good keyword for a while now. It's just they just put it on small creatures a lot, but when they put it on big creatures, it's so hard to fight through it. Like when they print 2 mana 2/2 vigilance or whatever, it's like it's most of the time it's who cares. But as soon as you put it on like a 3/3 or something, it's really impactful here.
If there's a Volt Charge in deck, I don't know if there is, but he's gonna get the Scry. That would be lethal because he can get the Prowler flying
Okay,
and
well
deal
he
3.
played 1 volt charge, so I don't know if he has 2. He's keeping a Lattice Blade Mantis here on top. Also has Tyrannex Atrocity in hand. The haster. So
Just but an island after a Tamio's Notebook hit the bottom of the deck.
Dune Mover comes down. He'll get in front of something next turn.
Vigilance really made the difference here because you don't get cracked back. You just swing out.
Yeah, as soon as your creature gets to like, 3 toughness or something, vigilance just becomes really, really good.
So one removal spell is game. It looks like going to one other. Oh, there's a hasty.
Yeah, there's the haste creature. So looks like unless there's interaction here, two creatures are getting in, and we go to a game 3.
Oh, lucky this week. 3 game threes.
Yeah, and quite a few of these games have been pretty back and forth. Often, sometimes in week 1, you sort of see, one deck just is not functioning due to mana or just 60 cards, and they draw too many weak cards. But we've seen a good amount of back and forth this week, so always like to see that
I'd
for our
say
future matches.
pretty. There's 3 Hexable Slashes in this deck, and I see notably 2 copies of Urabrask's Forge, which we haven't seen cast yet, but Urabrask's
Brask
Forge.
Forge, that is among the best rares in the set, right?
Yeah,
I believe there's a
lucky.
player, I forget who, but somebody, they re-rolled their pool when they became completed, and they got 3 Brask Forge in their new pool.
But you can only play one on curve.
All right, so this is a funny hand to look at here. Um, See if she decides to keep this. So 2
Uh,
Tyrannex Atrocities,
okay.
Mountain Forest, Basilica Skullbomb, Phyrexian Vindicator. So keeping this is basically mulling to 6. So I guess mulling to 6 is better.
That's an interesting hand.
Yeah, well,
Emmett
keeping this is
looking at it.
essentially a mulligan to 6. This Phyrexian Vindicator might as well not even be in your hand. So I was just keeping. Just figures I can get these Tyrannex Atrocities on turn 5. I have the 2 forests, so any other 2 lands will do. Basilica Spellbomb can dig me deeper. And I'll just forget that I have this Vindicator here and just look at the pretty art and the funny 4 white symbols for a while.
Emmett searched up plans with that Terramorphic Expanse, looking to play Indoctrination Attendant, Chrome
Okay.
Prowler, Reject Imperfection, which is a counterspell, a Blazing Crescendo, which is the +3/+1 red trick, and
Yeah.
it's not currently castable, and a Vanish into Eternity is also
Yeah, so
prophetic.
Maranda does have a Hex Gold Slasher for the first small threat that comes across the board.
Oh, that might be interesting because Chrome Prowler are looking to get flashed in at end step, but then you can't Hex Gold it unless you have mana up, which looks like she's
Yeah,
going
can
to
Hex
do.
Gold it right now. Yeah, so in the interim, Miranda's drawn a Orthodoxy Enforcer white card, which can't be cast. Mir Kinsmith can go get the Scry Mirror to go find something else to do, planes perhaps.
Emmett's choice now is to bounce a land with Indoctrination Attendant, or just play it naked, or perhaps a Prophetic Prism. Hope to find something.
I mean, playing Prism and then playing Attendant next turn sounds nice, but he might just want to get on board here while Miranda's
That is
off
true.
off one of her main colors. Like, you know, I'm sure that they know each other's decks and know each other's pools. So, I think he knows that white is the main color of the deck along with green, and that if there's pressure to be put on, now is the time. But he's going for a bit of the slower approach here, just setting up.
He found the thing with the Cacophony Scamp, able to be cast with the Prism itself.
There you go. I mean, not like a crazy impactful card, but certainly better than passing the turn without casting a spell. All right, so she's just gonna get her Mirror Kinsmith chain going, and that one's gonna go get the Custodian whenever it gets cast. But there are 4/4s coming down the pipe here. There's 2
I'll tell you that
Tyrannexes that are going to be showing their face at some point.
it's tough to want to talk into this Cacophony Scamp, because guess what? It picks off your 3/1, but what are you going to do? You have to get rid of it somehow.
Yeah, so it's basically like trading 2 for 2. Basically, trading the Tyrannex and the mirror for the Cacophony and the Indoctrination Attendant.
On this attack, yeah.
Well, no, not necessarily, because this camp won't die.
True, you have to choose which one, and
The
it's got to
4/4
be
will trade for the Indoctrination.
the attendant if you're going to attack.
Yeah. Alternatively, Emmett could just chump block and just kill off the 3/1.
Yeah, good enough.
Yeah. That means that he can at least attack and he can get toxic going. So I don't know if he has corrupted stuff,
That
but
well, that's pretty funny. Hexgold Flash was draw for the turn, wasn't playable until the Prism came back down, and now
yeah.
it can pick off 5-drop for 1 single mana, which is pretty good value, especially when you've drawn 2 cards off your Prism already.
Yeah, so Prism
Right?
is a card that I think was premium in other sets it was in. In this set, it's like less premium. It's still good, and I mean, I think in League, it's going to be better than it is in Draft. Just the aggressive nature of the format dictates that a card like Prophetic Prism is not a thing that most decks can do on turn two. Um, against a lot of the strategies. But in League, I think it's just fine, especially when you're 3 colors. You're just going to play it, and you got value from it. Bounced it, drew another card. Perfectly good card. Just interesting how that card, which was a very high pick in other formats, less so now. All right, so here's a Duelist of Deep Faith. We got this trading damage, trading poison. But here's the thing: Miranda can't really do much else right now aside from cast this Mere Kinsmith, and then hopefully scry to find some white sources because the rest of her hand is all white here.
Emmett is holding up both Vanish into Eternity and the counterspell for blue 1.
All right, so he
I don't think he
hasn't.
wants to stop from scrying.
So forest and mountain are definitely going to hit the bottom of the deck here.
This guy here is a Chrome Prowler. Is it staying on top? It is. 3 to 4 is the toxic count at this moment.
I think she's figuring out whether she can attack here, and especially not knowing whether she can cast a spell next turn, decides not to attack.
Oh, an aggressive Chrome Prowler here. Blazing Crescendo is open for any block here.
Like I could see if Miranda put a creature on top that she could cast, she might attack with the Tyrannax, just knowing that she definitely has a play for the next turn. All right, so I guess she has to figure there's a trick here because a 2/2 is being attacked into a 2/3. So
yeah, Crescendo is going to pick off whatever block happens here, most likely.
the best block to play around getting completely blown out would be this double block, which still, um, you know, still gets it gets 2 for 2'd here. Well, even though the Blazing Crescendo will draw a card, so basically all the creatures involved will die.
Now, if he doesn't use it here, I guess he's planning to use it on blocking. Would that turn into disaster if he uses it to try and block and pump his blocker?
Well, Miranda can't cast any spells right now, so
Maybe you said that. That was
yeah, it's a
going for it. It looks like it also gets you a card, Blazing Crescendo.
yep, a really unique card. I don't think we've ever really seen a red combat trick that had this effect on it. Like we see this red, this is the red card draw that we get, but I don't think we've ever seen it attached to a combat trick really. So it's
Not a
drawn
bad
another
card.
white card, so we're just gonna have to draw something here else. Okay, so there's a plains. So
That's good.
yeah, you can now cast one of the spells in her hand. And is 25% of the way to casting Phyrexian Vindicator, which I can't imagine is going to hit the battlefield this game, unfortunately. Yeah, so here's a 2/4. Not exciting, but blocks well.
The good news for Miranda, she could pretty much guess what opponent's next turn was going to be.
Yeah, well.
Another 5-drop drawn, 2 red pips. The Resistance Skywarden with Reach and Trample.
Yeah, this is actually kind of the first game where we've really seen the colors be an issue here in week 1. I mean, in the previous rounds we saw what was mostly 2-color-ish decks. Some just 2 colors and some with slight splashes. But here we got 2 decks that are mostly just full on, appearing to be full on 3 colors. And mana has limited the things they could do, though Emmett has been able to cast more spells this game due to having access to all of the colors here. And looks like this is just going to be a lethal attack here. Or no, yes.
Not Toxic Death, but other death.
No.
There is no way.
Yeah, just the being off of planes for way too long. Emmett was able to cast more spells there. And congratulations to him on his win. Thanks everybody for tuning in to feature matches for week 1.